So what I try to think about at all times is when something comes out, do I have something ready to replace it? So this Chijimasai has flowered. It's pretty much stopped producing new leaves. I'm actually going to come in and cut it down at the bottom. So I'm going to come in and take my knife and pull all of it off like this. And then I will take any leaves that I can salvage. I'll eat the flowers. You can see there's some pods starting there, some seed pods, and those could be tasty too, I'm not sure. So I'm gonna fill this basket up with those, and then I have these beans that are ready to take their place. So always having something ready to pop in the ground that's already had a few weeks to grow will just keep the harvests coming just over and over and over. I did not mark these beans, and I am like, shame on me, because I don't know if they're a bush bean or a trellising bean. So I am going to put them here. They will have the option of trellising, maybe with the peas, I'm not sure. I'm hoping they're a bush bean, but just in case, I'm going to put them here. So that's today's just tiny little project. I should say today's tiny little project among a million projects. I've gotten so much done, but this was a really big one I wanted to get done because right now nothing's happening in this spot. The Chijimasai isn't going to produce more. It's going to keep making those pods, and then the beans are going to be stunted if I don't get them out. So this is one really important thing I need to do. Plus, it's going to rain, and we have not had rain in so long. I am so grateful. I'm going to be trying to get as many things in the ground as possible today so that everything can take advantage of that beautiful rain. I found a rose at Tractor Supply store for $6. A grandiflora rose. I'm so excited about it. It's super windy, so I'm not going to talk too much outside today, but things are doing well. Let me show you the peas. So the peas have started to get flowers, and that is just the most exciting thing to me. They're also climbing up the trellis, which Dave is really excited about because last year our trellises just did not get filled except for the long beans. I don't know if you remember, but I had a pea that was growing variegated leaves. So I'm just trying to kind of follow it. It is not a strong plant at all, but even if I can get one or two pods from it and just save the seeds, I might be able to develop that a little bit. And it is just so pretty. So grow, little pea, grow. So that was incredibly easy, and now I have a choice. I can plant the beans in between these roots and just leave them, or I can come in and just twist out the plants, which I will probably end up doing since I'm doing it right now. So just twisting them out, lifting them out. I can grab whatever weeds are here, and then I think the chicken would very much like to have these for a little snack. I cannot figure out what I did with my gimbal, the thing that stabilizes the phone. So I'm gonna hold this very, very carefully. All right, some of the other things that I did today is I got the rest of this row mulched with straw. I started this row because I mulch after I weed, so it's basically what I got weeded. I was able to get this entire row of celery weeded and mulched. I mulched the squash, the kohlrabi. So I still need to do this celery bed, but I also need to plant more in here because this was the overflow celery. It wasn't supposed to be an entire bed of celery. So there's a lot of space, and I need to get some stuff in here. We also have some peppers in here, which look like they need some serious fish emulsion, but hopefully the rain will give them some nitrogen, and then I can add some fish emulsion once I get more. And then the other thing I did today was I took off this row cover from the brassicas. I noticed that one of the cabbages had flowered, which was a bummer, but it was only one or two, I think two. So I took those out. I weeded the entire area. I mulched it with straw, which is a little bit nerve-wracking because that can kind of invite slugs, but hopefully we'll be okay. And then I got the row cover back on, but it's really windy and I think there's an air pocket somewhere. And then just mulched this with some straw here. This is a straw that I find at Tractor Supply store, and it's very different. I think Heather from Northridge Farm, who I adore, mentioned this one year that she used this tiny little cut up straw to mulch her onions because the onions are so tiny. I ended up loving it so much that I just switched to that straw pretty much completely. I use it in the chicken coops. It keeps the chicken coops more fresh than anything I've ever used. It is so good for mulch. I just really love it, and it's not terribly expensive. So I've been getting huge bags of that and just using that everywhere. I meant to leave one of the chijimasai stalks in the ground so I could watch it go through the full flowering into pod stages and just watch it. Like, I want to observe every plant, and I forgot. So I'm actually just going to leave one that I cut down in the ground as a root and just see, maybe it'll regrow, maybe something else will happen, I don't know, but let's give it a chance. Let's do a little experiment. And now I'm going to get the beans in. So that's the little one I'm going to leave in, and then pretty much this is ready to plant. Most of the weeds are out and I can pull them as I go. I don't remember if this is a vining or a bush bean. It's looking an awful lot like a vining bean to me. So I have a cucumber that's supposed to be growing up here. Oh, there's an aphid. This is probably a bad idea, so I'm gonna rethink this right now. I think I'm gonna change my mind because I don't think these are bush beans, and I could be wrong, but I think I'm gonna go plant them along that back fence in case they are vining, because it's not time for them to grow up this trellis. It's not their turn. The things that are gonna come on this trellis after the peas are cow peas and red noodle beans. So now that means I have this entire section underneath this trellis that is free. And just running through my head of what I have started, I think I'm actually going to try to throw in some parsnips here. Now it might be a little late for that. Maybe I'll do carrots. I will decide at some point. I'll figure that out, but my parsnips never germinated. I have very bad carrot germination, and I would like to just keep trying spots and see what I can get to grow. Look at all that lettuce behind me. I grew so much lettuce I could feed. Yeah, you know. You guys, I have to pause for a moment because I know that this strawberry is not fully ripe. I can see that. But this is the first almost perfect strawberry that I have been able to get from the garden that the birds are not eating, or the chipmunks, and I'm going to eat it. Even though it's super sour, it is so worth it. I've been dreaming of this, and so I did it. First strawberry. Well, the rain came. So yesterday I got as much done as I could. I ran around like just in super speed, and I planted like 15, 16 sunflowers, 7 or 8 cosmos, 5 eggplant. I'm trying to remember what else I was frantically putting in the ground. It was mostly the sunflowers I wanted to get in. Oh, and those beans, I got those in. And we haven't had rain in so long that there's very little pest pressure. We don't really have a slug problem this year. We're not having a huge cucumber beetle problem this year. However, the plants aren't growing. They're not growing. They're just like staying still. And we don't usually have a rain issue. Rain is not our thing. So our yard typically floods, and my garden typically floods, which is why I build it up. And this rain was so needed. I am so happy that I ran around doing that last night. So the next step is just I soaked the Chigimasai stems in water so they would stay fine last night. The cat went crazy on them, as you will see. I will show you that video. And then I just pluck them off and I get everything off that I can. The rest goes to the chicken. And today right now I'm just waiting for it to dry, but I can't wait to go out there. Like, I can look outside right now and I can see the pears on the pear tree have swollen. They're like bigger just from that one rain. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. The birds sound very happy. Everybody, I think, is just going to be very happy out there in the earth. Okay, so here are the very immature pods, and eventually they will start looking more like this. I have a bigger one here. Now this is not dry, so I don't know exactly what we're gonna see inside. So you can see this is starting to become little seeds. So if we had let that stay out and let that dry, that's how we're gonna get our seeds. I didn't do that. I just harvested it. I wanted the space. I meant to leave one to do that with, and I totally forgot. So right now I'm just stripping it, and I'm taking leaves, I'm taking flowers, and I'm taking any of these tiny immature pods I want, and I'm just filling up this bowl of water. I'll soak everything really well, and then we will have a Chigimasai salad to kind of finish out that season of greens, because now as the weather's getting warmer, this spinach and the arugula and you know, just the things that just don't like to be hot, they are going to all bolt. They're gonna flower, and again, all of this is very delicious. You just don't get much food off of it once that happens, and so you really kind of need to clear that space and add your next crops in. But there's a lot of food here. So I'm not gonna be, you know, terribly thorough. It's you know, is what it is. But I'll be taking like some of these pods, these little pods, adding them into my bowl. And then I'm just trying to take any like good leaves that I find, even if they're not great leaves. Just still trying to get what I can. I have like 17 bags of lettuce, so I have to plan a ton of salad meals. That's really our main crop right now, is salads. So that's what we're eating. And then they'll be gone, and we won't be eating salads. We'll be eating other things. And so it's just really exciting to see what you can do with the crops that you're harvesting at that time, at that moment. I don't know, it's close. Like, I am very close to having most of the plants in the ground, even though there's the swap outs that are happening, you know, like the greens come out and beans go in, the cabbage will come out, the broad beans at some point soon will come out, some of the potatoes will be coming out, and then being prepared for what is going to go and fill those spaces. That's where it gets tricky for me, and that's the thing I'm learning this year. So like every year we have that thing that we learn. Last year was just understanding the plants. This year is really understanding timing, how to get my timing right so I have something ready to go. Like when my potatoes come out, I want to have a ton of baby leeks ready to go, or you know, when cabbage comes out, am I gonna plant that row with a ton of bush beans? Am I gonna put potatoes in? Am I gonna put carrots in? So I really just have to figure all that out. And I think as the years go on, I'll have a greater understanding of the timing. I think really for me, it's experiencing it. I can read about it all I want, but like my broad bean experience is not happening like people say it does. I'm finding that it is a very slow, much slower than I thought, and I will be planting them a ton earlier than I did this year. And so it's just learning that. For me, it's I have to have the experience. I have to live through it. And then I figured out. All right, well, that was fun hanging out in the garden. Thanks as always for being here. Appreciate you.